I've driven a whole bunch of cars this year, but there are a few that stand ahead of the pack. I've worked out my top 5 cars released in 2022 across all of sim racing, and I'm going to do a lap in each one and show you which one's the best. Let's do it. So let's get into my top cars of 2022. Just a heads up that this list is my own personal opinion, so if you do disagree with it, you think I've missed a car, or maybe there's a car on there that shouldn't be, definitely let us know in the comments. And if you like the list, give us a like and subscribe to Overtake for lots more sim racing videos, releasing videos like every second day. So starting with the 5th best car to be released in 2022, and it is on pretty much the #1 sim right now. It is iRacing, and it's the Radical SR10. The Radical SR10 replaces the Radical SR8, and it's turbocharged, has amazing power to weight, and it's a heap of fun to throw around with the aero. So let's do a quick lap. All right, let's start a lap in the new for iRacing in 2022 Radical SR10, and we're at Road Atlanta. Let's throw it through these first couple of corners. Are so good. So the main thing with this car is that it is like a tiny slide on the way into and on the way out of every corner. It's only a tiny bit, but it's enough to be awesome. It's so fun. Like, it breaks loose on the way in and it's super catchable, and it breaks loose again on the way out and it's also super catchable. This car is turbocharged and it's a sequential gearbox, so it's a bit easier to change gears than the previous Radical in iRacing. Final chicane. This is my 5th best car of the year, and it's so fun to race, and I hope you enjoy it as well if you're driving it on iRacing. So the 4th best car in 2022 is in the Ultimate GT3 game, Assetto Corsa Competizione, but it's actually not a GT3, it is the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Evo 2. Released in the Challengers Pack for ACC back in March this year, I think. The Super Trofeo feels very similar to a GT3 car, but it is a little bit less downforce and it moves around a little bit more. Also, it looks super hot. The shark fin looks crazy with the rear wing, and there's a roof scoop, and basically this car looks amazing. It drives fun, and let's do a lap. All right, I'm starting a lap in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Evo 2 at Hungaroring in ACC. So this car is very similar to a GT3 car in the way it drives. It's not a GT3 car, and there's a couple of key differences. And the main one that you'll notice in driving this car is the lack of aero. And I noticed it in the front end, especially at this corner here. You can't do this flat. It's like a GT3 car, but not quite. But it is a lot of fun. And I feel like it just, as we invalidate, that's unfortunate, it just breaks loose a tiny bit more. I don't know, I feel like it's a really fun car to drive, and I'm really happy that Kunos went ahead and put this in a DLC this year. There's a tiny bit of rear braking loose. This setup is pretty tame, to be honest, but the main thing I'm feeling is understeer, but I feel like the fact that I'm feeling grip loss at all is very cool compared to the GT3 cars in this game. Get loose on a curb. But yeah, this car looks incredible. It sounds really good, and I don't know, it looks like a spaceship. I feel like a badass just driving this car whenever I do. I'm gonna wait for ages here, through another final corner, trail it. Cool, that's a lap in the Super Trofeo, my 4th best car of 2022. So my 3rd best car in 2022 is on Automobilista 2, and it's actually released in the Racing USA DLC. It is basically a 1990s era kart mod. We call it IndyCar these days, but it's basically the 1998 kart series. And whilst this car was technically released in 2021, what was released in 2022 were ovals. And it completely changes the way this car is driven. It's got a completely different spec, new wings, new engine mapping, all of that stuff. And it's a heap of fun. I'm going to be doing a quick lap at Auto Club Speedway in the car famously driven by the world champion of kart himself, Jimmy Bly. That definitely happened. But yeah, let's do a quick lap. Okay, I'm starting a race in the 1998 era kart champ car. It wasn't champ car at this point, it was still kart. Anyway, let's do it. Oh my god, this car is so much power, it is ridiculous. And this super speedway format is brand new in 2022. So the thing that I've noticed in practicing for this track and car is that it's surprisingly loose, but also you can feel the aero pushing the car into the ground as we break loose. So you do get aero push from the cars in front, but it's like, I don't know, it's balanced with the oversteer. It's very cool. I don't know if this is realistic or not. I'm not an expert, but it is so much fun. Right up to the wall. Oh my God. So as you can see, I'm not the fastest at this, but I'm the most enthusiastic. It's just like, this is a wonderful era of open wheel racing. And this is the first time we've really seen him on ovals in kind of captured well, I think, in my opinion. So this is a very cool mod. You have to pick up 2 mods to get this content, but highly rate it. Racing these cars on ovals is like endless fun in Automobilista. And yeah, that is my third best car in sim racing in 2022. My second best car from 2022 is a mod on Assetto Corsa from United Racing Design. It's the Scuderia Glickenhaus SCG007 hypercar. So designed by Glickenhaus, and we have worked out that Jim Glickenhaus doesn't in fact hate sim racing. This car is a lot of fun to drive. We are getting into the hypercar era of WEC, so we're going to be seeing a lot of hypercars in 2023 in sim racing, and this car is great. I'm going to be driving it at an updated version of Albert Park, the 2022 layout, and let's do a quick lap. All right, I'm starting a lap in the Glickenhaus hypercar, new to Assetto Corsa in 2022. We're driving at Albert Park, which is my home track, actually. It's a very cool track. We're driving the 2022 version of this as well, and this is kind of a fantasy. Like, what happens if WEC ever raced at this track? I think it would be pretty cool. But this car is... it's really nice to drive, and it feels like a lot of cars in Assetto Corsa. It slides really nicely understeer, but it sort of feels very catchable. The one thing that I do like about this car compared to a lot of other cars is you can really feel the aero ramp up, especially through this section of the track. The steering gets really heavy as the speed increases, and it feels just glued to the road. And the actual corner speed that you can take in this car is pretty nuts. It's not Formula 1 level, but it's not too far behind, put it that way. Yeah, I love the flames coming out the back of this car. They look pretty mad. Last couple of corners of this track. I would love to do an endurance race in this car. I think this would be really fun to just bang out laps like one after the other. It's one of those mods that's so well put together. It feels like it's official content as well, which is awesome. But this is my number 2 car from 2022 to be released in sim racing. It is the Glickenhaus hypercar. Now it's time for my favorite car to be released in sim racing in 2022, and it's actually from rFactor 2. It is the BMW 3 Series BTCC car. One of only a few cars in BTCC to have rear-wheel drive, this car kicks sideways on throttle and takes curb like an absolute champion. It is so much fun to drive, and I'm going to be doing a quick lap at the Croft circuit, which is also new to rFactor in 2022. Let's do a lap. All right, I'm starting a lap in the BMW 3 Series BTCC car at Croft, which is also new in 2022. I've got the tyres up to temp, and let's do it. This car is rear-wheel drive, which means you can kick the rear out on power like that, but it is so fun to drive. And this track honestly suits these cars perfectly. It's like got a bunch of curbs that you can just smash. It's awesome. I would love to race against other drivers in this car. I think it would be so fun. Just like a whole pack of people sending it in BTCC cars. This whole section is just flat, which is so awesome. You have to catch it midway through. And this bit, you go in at full speed and then you're on the brakes, lock a wheel, get it into the apex, try and get the power down on exit. And oh my God, it's so good. Like this car is incredible. And honestly, this sim, rFactor, like, sometimes rFactor really makes me hate it. But sometimes, honestly, when rFactor is on, it is incredible. When rFactor is doing the thing correctly, it is insane. And this car is great. I highly recommend you pick it up. I have done so many laps of practice around this track in this car. I've got my boyfriend to drive it. I was like, this is so good, you need to try it. Highly recommend driving it, so definitely give it a go. This is my favorite car released in sim racing this year. So those are my top 5 cars in sim racing in 2022. Do you agree with the list? Is there any cars that we missed, or maybe some cars that should have been left out? Feel free to let us know in the comments. And if you did like the list, give us a like and subscribe to Overtake if you'd like to see more sim racing videos. We've got a lot of content planned in 2023. But otherwise, I'll see you next year. Have a good one. Bye.